I want to share some commercial secrets to owner financing with you today. I'm Tim Diesel, I'm a commercial real estate consultant, and on this channel I'm going to help you elevate your business and come up with some creative strategies and ways you can excel in what you're doing. All right, so owner financing is actually a topic I did not think there was that much complication around. And what I want to do is share some strategies with you because I've actually successfully been using owner financing in buildings and businesses. I've been using owner financing all the time, every time I structure deals. And it's more common than you might think. I know some people look at it like it's this holy grail of investing and it's not possible. It definitely is possible. You just have to know how to structure it. And there's one ingredient, there's one thing you need to have when you're putting together owner financing deals. And it's the confidence. The seller wants to know you know what you're talking about, because that's what makes them feel comfortable. And let's talk about this for a little bit. Suppose you have $1 million building and you're selling it and you're used to making, I don't know, $5,000 a month for this example. So you're bringing $5,000 a month and you're managing this building. And let's say it's an apartment building, whatever the case is, right? It's a 20-unit apartment building. You're doing very good. Okay, great. Now, someone comes along and they say, I want to buy your building. I need you to help me buy it. Well, that's not very attractive to the seller. But when you start telling them, hey, listen, if I paid you cash right now, you're going to have a big tax hit. They know what that means. They're just thinking already like, oh, what are we going to do? Well, we got a 1031. We got to do this. So, and doing a 1031 is not as easy as people make it seem to be. You have to identify a couple options. Then you got to close. I mean, it's a 6-month. It's not very easy. If you ever had talked to anyone who's done a 1031, it's not the kind of thing like, oh yeah, we're just going to do it. No. It is a process. So when you, as the buyer, present an option to the seller, hey, listen, I'm going to make this really simple for you. It's going to be really easy. My attorneys can draft up these notes and structure everything for you. It's all going to be above board. I've done this before. I know what I'm talking about. They feel much, much better. Because look, the truth is it's the collateral is a property they've owned. Like it's not nothing new. This is their building. And if what they're telling you is true, so if they're really making, I don't know, $10,000 a month, then you asking for owner financing of $3,000 a month should be no problem. Because, hey, this is what you had told me the cash flow has been for the last 3 years. Why would this be an issue of you getting your money? That's kind of the case. Now, most of the time, they don't need all their money up front. That's very surprising to me how many times I've come across that. But if you offer them more money, they're more likely to do the deal. So if the guy wants $1 million and you say, look, I'll give you an extra 100 grand. If you're giving that person an extra $100,000 and remember, the deal has to make sense. I'm giving you an example here. It doesn't have to be $100,000. If the deal makes sense to them and they're getting more money, then why wouldn't they do it? Because a 3 to 5 year note is not that long. Even a 2-year, it's really not. And they don't have to do anything. They're just getting mailbox money. So they're investing in their own property, right? So they're walking out and they're buying. So the risk to them is very little. That's kind of what I'm saying at this point. So the bank is taking up the first portion or the bigger piece of the cut. They're only carrying back maybe 10 or 15%. Sometimes you can push for 20. So 100,000, 150,000, that should be not something they should be sweating about at all. And if you structure it right, if you say, listen, we're going to do this, we're going to have you out in 2-3 years. Every 6 months, we're going to give you a bonus payment. If we're making money, hey, when we refinance this thing, you'll be all out. Or maybe your plan is to sell it. Who knows? It's just, what I found is most people don't ask for it. Every letter of intent, every single one, should have seller financing in there. Why wouldn't you ask for it? I always say ask for 20, 15%, somewhere in between there. If they knock you down, well, even if you get 10%, even if you get 5%, it's still not bad. Try to get something. And you usually can, because you can justify your case. So the biggest thing is you got to ask for it, and then you got to know you got to act like you know what you're talking about. So they're going to ask you things like, well, how do I get my money back? How do I know I'm going to get paid? Well, it's secured to the property. So you've got a lien position on this thing. I can't just wipe you out. And once you explain these things to the seller, it makes them feel a little bit better because they're not carrying the majority of the note. They're not carrying 90% of it. They're carrying 10%. So once you show them what your debt coverage ratios will be, now don't explain it like that because some sellers don't know what that is. But once you show them, hey, listen, these are our expenses. I'm only going to cash flow $1,000 a month because I've got to pay you and I've got to pay this other person. But I'm okay with that because I want to get into this deal and I think I can turn some things around. They want to help you. They want to move on. They've already made their money most of the time. They've owned it for 15 years or so. They're okay with holding back on a couple $100,000. That is not like the last dime for them. And most of the time they're older. Most people that own these buildings, sometimes they're in the late 50s. They're okay with receiving money every month. They kind of want that. So just make sure you ask for it. So the biggest thing is have confidence, know what you're talking about, and don't just kind of wing it. Really give them a plan. Say, listen, I want $200,000. If they start asking, well, how does that look? You better have a real good plan of what those payments are going to look like. What's going to happen? Is it interest only? Are you going to pay down principal? Make sure you have something created for them. They want to feel comfortable. If they feel comfortable and they understand, okay, this is going to happen, they like the deal. They'll do the deal all the time. And hopefully that was a very good tip for you guys. If you have questions on it, definitely let me know.